Good to see you guys. It's been a very busy, I guess all weeks are busy now, right, these days. But in particular of late, it's been a very busy week of ministry. And so I've not had time to do my requisite slideshow. So I will take all of the fruit and vegetables that you have to hurl at me. Give it your best shot. Now that you've thrown those, I will tell you, though, we do have a clip to look forward to from perhaps what some of my professors used to say is the second greatest story ever told, which, of course, would mean the Gospel of John. The Gospels in general, but John in particular, would be the first and greatest story ever told. Before we begin, though, I wanted to ask you guys something, a bit of a review question, if you will. And it's also to poke and prod a little bit, because I want to poke and prod you and myself today, as is good and right and true. If the Beatitudes bring us, what do the Beatitudes bring us into? Blessing. Very good. Which we've been translating, we've been amplifying by saying blessing is akin to true happiness, right? Okay. So if the Beatitudes bring us into true happiness, I must ask you, why are we not happy? That's what I want to begin with. So you guys put your thinking caps on and tell me. To be sure, we are happy from time to time. But as you look around, and in particular, look in the church of Christ, our Lord, our risen Lord, I want you to wonder, why are we not truly happy? I want you to think about, in other words, what the people outside the church know the church for. Do they know us as being truly happy? Do you guys have non-believers that you're familiar with? Friends, neighbors, people that perhaps even have rejected the church. They have a shorthand for the church. They have something that they label the church with, right? Is it true happiness? Probably not. If it was, they would probably be with us, right? So I wonder, just wondering, because you guys have sat in this class way longer than I have. The Beatitudes, they bring us into true happiness, we have said, for many weeks now. And so I ask you, why are we not known to be truly happy? Does anybody have an answer for me? Yes.
Our inclination is to turn away from God.
Our inclination is to turn away from God.
In so doing, you become unhappy.
And you become unhappy, yes. If happiness is human shorthand for complete and total fulfillment, for you fully realizing what you were made for and put on this earth for, it can only be found in God, right? Yes, so I get exactly that. We are not truly happy because we're turning away from the Lord. By degrees, perhaps. Yes?
I think to add what you and John have said, we just don't rest in God's promises. I know I don't.
We don't rest in God's promises. So he offers these Beatitudes, which I think, yes, it's promissory language, is it not? Yeah, so that's a very good reading of the genre. This is a very promising teaching that Christ is pouring out before the children of the Lord. So perhaps they understand them like we understand them, but we don't rest in them. Can you tell me what this resting means?
I think rest is just kind of a quietness before the Lord and just thinking about what he has done for us, who he is, what that means to us. Going out in our day, going out and when we're facing trials, when we're facing issues, when we're facing, I'm astounded at sometimes when I see these people who go through these amazing trials in their lives, and still they are these just amazing people who stand firm and content and even joyful. Because they know that God is going to be with them the entire time. They know that God is truly there for them, and they are resting in that knowledge. That God is protecting them, with them, guiding them. And that would make me joyful if I did that more often.
Yes, yeah. No, I hear that and I experience it exactly. Part of the many things we had this week were visits. I had a number of visits that I was so glad to make, but one of them was to a household where somebody is laid up and has every reason to not rest, or I might even say trust. Do you think that's fair as well? Yeah. Not to trust in the promissory language of the Lord. Every single reason. In fact, the thing that had laid them up was, it was directly related to a lifetime of ministry. Okay, so I want you to think about that for a minute. The sacrifice that they made has, in effect, put them where they are, which is in this place of misery. And they wouldn't say it this way, but I will say it this way. It's brutal, the suffering that I beheld. So you would expect one kind of language. You would expect them to be known the way non-believers might know the church, which is that we struggle just like everybody else does in this world. But instead, I kid you not, I got psalm language, and it wasn't a platitude. I was told the Lord is upright. He is good and just and true, and He has given to me far more than I could ever ask for. That's extraordinary. And you would expect this person to be in complete and total misery. Instead, I saw smiles. I saw body language that told me true happiness is here, right? It's amazing. It was amazing. I'll never forget getting to go and see these people. So what I wanted to do, it's very easy to read the Beatitudes. They're very small. They're very memorable. We know these things from when we were teeny tiny, some of us. But what I wanted to do is show you they're simple, but there's also this elusive quality to them because they're coming to us from this sermon that is not just preached by an excellent prophet, but by the prophet of all prophets. And we know when we look at the Old Testament how the prophets talk. We don't necessarily think and hear Jesus with that same ear, but much of the Sermon on the Mount would have been at home in the Old Testament. He's preaching to us as a prophet would. And these are not easy statements. On one hand, it's very easy to say, be merciful that you might receive mercy. On the other hand, I think we need to stop and recognize how hard it is to show mercy and what our inclination towards showing others mercy really is. Does that make sense? Okay. I want to show you to begin. You guys are probably like, what's going on? We're going to watch The Matrix. If it will cooperate, I want to show you this amazing scene. It's probably the best scene out of the entire 3 movies. I don't know. We could argue, but...
Is that Pastor Zach there?
I don't want to blow you out here. Forgive me if it's too loud.
Before the ring found him, before it drove him mad.
not be too eager to dish out judgment. Even the wise cannot see all ends. Yes. Okay. That's so good. Okay, so you tell me, what themes do you see in this scene? What universal truths do you hear them talking about? What topics are they discussing?
Mercy.
Mercy. Do they say the word mercy? Okay. What word do they say?
Pity.
They say pity. Well done. Yes. I should stop and say the work of Tolkien, Tolkien was being an ardent believer. The reason that we could even show something like this and ask about themes and topics is because he's getting his themes and topics from the scriptures. Okay, let's maybe start there. We could probably quibble about some of the story as it comes and goes, and he's trying to lace together this pagan worldview, but at the same time, the brick and mortar of this story comes from the scriptures. Okay, again, another lesson for another day. But what I want to do is kind of focus in on their word choice here, because Dave hit the nail right on the head. They're talking about mercy. And I ask, okay, well, which actor used the word mercy? And neither did. They used the word pity. And would you believe in the Greek, the word that we have for mercy in today's Beatitude is also in the lexicon translated as pity. It's also translated as compassion. But it's this very word that Tolkien had in mind when he put together the scene in the novel, okay? I want to think from here on out using that word because I think it's telling in our age. The word mercy has been watered down. It means a lot of different things. Pity is not a word that we use very often. And when we do, we look at it a certain way. So I want to think with you a little bit. In this clip, we see pity, and it's a very, very well drawn out, developed theme throughout that story. But it's also a very well drawn out central theme to the Gospels, okay? Now I want to take another running start at today's Beatitude, and hear me here. We can translate it this way. Truly happy are those who show pity, for they will receive pity, okay? You could translate it that way. There are other spots in the scriptures, especially in Matthew. You have Matthew 9 that you'll hear in today's reading. In that chapter, the word gets used that way as well. And then again, later on in Matthew, in one of the parables we'll talk about today. Pity. What does the word pity mean to you? I'm curious.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that for me it has a negative connotation.
It surely does.
Because I think of mercy positively. I think of pity as being, I feel sorry for somebody, but I'm not doing anything about it. I'm just going to, that's my opinion. I'm going to feel sorry for that person.
Yes, very well done. Did everybody hear that?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Did you have anything to add?
No, that she's fabulous, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, we think about it as a very negative thing. So in the modern age, the idea of pity in our day has fallen on hard times, has it not? Yes, it sounds like something that's insulting. Pity has become a thing that has come to be loathed, has it not? Yeah. Those who need pity are regarded in what way? How do we look at people that need pity? Weak. Excellent. What else? Sorrowful. Yeah. Downcast and crushed. Very much like the sermon from this morning. David uses that language. He uses pitiful language. The reason that Pastor Zach cited Matthew 9 is not because it's a correlation with Psalm 51. It's actually a correlation with Hosea 6, which in turn gets correlated with Psalm 51. So it's pitiful language. And did you hear that word? Pitiful, right? Those who need pity are pitiful. They're in a pitiful state. Those who have no one to blame but themselves, we might say, right? Those who, since it's their fault, deserve what from us?
Contempt.
Nothing, contempt, right? Much less our pity. This is how we look at this word, and I would argue that this is, in a lot of ways, underneath everything, the way we look at mercy, especially showing others mercy, okay? Accordingly, those that are capable of showing pity to one another, whether it's I have means to provide for your need, or I have the ability to forgive you and sacrifice my own justice for the sake of your misery. Mercy can go either way. Pity can go either way. It can be providing something that someone needs, whether it's material or spiritual forgiveness, right? Those capable of showing pity are often tempted to refuse the needy, thinking what? I will give them what they deserve. Have you ever been in that situation before? You can help somebody, you can forgive somebody, but you know what? They don't deserve it. This is a part of how we see pity, right? We look down on people like this. In this way, ruthlessness has taken on a form of righteousness in our day, right? It's almost like being a judge. Denying pity to those that need it can become an expression of justice, right? It's a pity that Bilbo did not kill Gollum when he had the chance, right? So when we refuse mercy, pity toward others, there's this potential in our day for that to be seen as righteousness. Isn't that crazy? It's a complete inversion. It's a complete inversion of what the Lord would have for his kingdom. And that's a decent way of looking at the Sermon on the Mount. It is a sermon from a prophet, priest, and king. We're going to get to the priest part in a minute, right? But the king is casting forth his vision of a kingdom that will stretch into eternity, right? He's using a prophetic voice. Those who have a stake in these promises will need some kind of grace or way to begin to participate in them, right? Because we are those from time to time that would rather give out justice instead of mercy, right? So how do we get there? That's what we're going to think a little more about. Man, we have to study. We have to do 2 today, don't we? We're left to wonder in this scene, is Frodo, is he fit to judge? And we should be thinking about this as well for ourselves. When we withhold pity, are we doing it to judge others? And if so, are we fit to do that, right? So this is part of that biblical bedrock in the novel, in this portion of the novel that Tolkien is kind of arguing back and forth with. Listen to this dialogue. Sméagol's life is a sad story. Yes, Sméagol was once called before the ring found him, before it drove him mad. Frodo says, it's a pity that Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance. Gandalf glances at him sharply and he says, pity. It was pity that stayed Bilbo's hand. Many that live deserve death, and some deserve life. Can you give it to them, Frodo? Do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment. Even the wise cannot see all ends. Is Frodo fit to deny him pity? It's a good question to ask. As you move through the story and your life, you might ask it this way. am I going to be in a situation where I need pity? Right? Because if someone needs pity, they're probably not fit to deny others pity. Yes.
Can I ask, when do we not deserve pity?
Right. Like Frodo, we assume it's others who need pity. Okay? That's what he assumes. Right? It's others who need pity, but not us. But then Christ comes down to us, just like Gandalf comes to Frodo. Christ comes down into the depths of the earth. He comes to us, and like Gandalf, he questions us, and he reminds us of the truth that we're the ones that require pity, right? We're the ones who stand condemned. And then we get it, in another way, we get this out of Romans 5, and you know it well. It says this, "For just as sin came into the world through one man and death through sin, so death spread to all men because all sinned. Death reigned over all, even over those whose sin was not like Adam's. Many died through one man's trespass, for his trespass brought condemnation." Okay? Christ came to tell us that we're the ones that need pity. That's the movie he made for us, right? If you want to think about it that way. He came to tell us we are the ones that require pity. It's not them, those, it's you and me. That's who requires pity, right? But that's only half the gospel. And as Reformed Christians, usually that's the part that we emphasize. The other part is that he came to show us that pity, right? Right. It's not just that you need it and I'll see you later. It's you need it, but take courage because I've brought it for you. It's beautiful. This is the good news of the gospel, right? Now, what I want to say is that there's even more. There's even more, like the infomercial. Wait, there's more, right? Because it's not just that he tells us, he reveals to us that we need pity, and then he brings us that pity. When he applies pity to us, it actually does something to us. Check this out. For Christ's pity does more than excuse us from condemnation. By the works of his Spirit, Christ's pity changes the way we live. And you guys may have noticed this in your lives and in the lives of those you love and in the lives of those you know. Rather than being content to keep Christ's pity for ourselves, we may even find ourselves convicted to show his pity to others, right? We find ourselves doing these really strange things. And just like the outside of the church doesn't understand us when we're dour all the time, they definitely don't understand when we sell things to give to kids that we've never even met before halfway across the world, right? And they don't understand why we would stop and help somebody with a flat tire in a bad part of town. And it goes on and on and on. We find ourselves doing these strange things. Where do they come from? They don't come from this world. This is a ruthless world, right? They don't come from us trying to impress one another necessarily. We do these things when no one's around, right? Yeah. So his pity does something really weird to us. Not only does it make us just, not only are we justified by the pity of Christ, but by the work of his Spirit in our hearts, we end up taking that same pity and sharing it with others in this world. We don't keep it, what was it when we were little? We don't keep it under a lamp, right? We let it shine. Yeah. We just had vacation Bible school, so yeah, that was part of the busy week too. We find ourselves doing these strange things, like giving resources to those that we don't even owe, even those that we don't know. But get this, the pity doesn't stop with our pockets. It also applies to forgiveness. We forgive others that we have no business forgiving. We need to make sure that they're judged unto death, right? We forget that we're Christians and that we've been forgiven and that we've had, not just by God, but one another, that we've had to forgive one another as well. And we've been forgiven by one another as well. But in that moment, we take up the gavel and we are just in a fury. right? And we're going to nail them to the wall, right? So what does the Spirit do? In our heart of hearts, He gives us compassion. Even for those that did not show us compassion, pity, and we find ourselves forgiving. I've seen, I don't know how many news pressers where the mother of a kid that was murdered is forgiving the murderer. How many of these have you seen? Yeah, even parents in Dallas. I've seen this on the local news. I think it's probably happening all over the place. Yeah, and the people that are interviewing these moms, they don't understand it. You can see it. They're just like, there's something wrong with this person. Yes, there is something wrong. There is a spirit alive and living. God Himself is dwelling in her heart, making her do things, allowing her to participate in a greater kingdom than her own, right? It's so cool. But how does it make us feel to be told, and this is another way you can look at the Beatitude, truly happy, blessed are those who show mercy. Truly happy and blessed are those who show pity, who are merciful, right? In a backhand way, what's that prophet doing? He's telling you need to be what? Merciful. He's telling you, Jesus is telling us between the lines, you need to show mercy. He knows that humans, even the Greeks, right? All of Aristotle's ethic begins with seeking happiness. Even those who don't believe in God know that man is created to chase after happiness, right? So we don't have a choice. It's like worshiping. We're going to worship something. What is it? Is it going to be the living God? Yes or no, right? We're going to chase after happiness. It's not if, but when. What happiness are we going to chase after? Is it going to be rooted in the living God? Yes or no, right? So we don't have a choice. In a lot of ways, these Beatitudes, they're offers, yeah, but He's sly as a teacher. He knows man. He created man. He knows we don't have a choice. We're entering into this negotiation. It's not a negotiation. We're entering into this situation of being human here and now. We're going to chase after something. We're going to try to find true happiness, and we're going to be mistaken a lot of the time. Today, in this lesson, He says, if you're going to do it, if you want it, you're going to do these things, one of which is be merciful in a world that is ruthless, right? So I ask you, how does it make you feel to be told you got to be merciful? You got to show pity. How do we feel being told that? On His behalf, I'm standing here telling you, right? Be full of pity, you guys. Do it. How does that make you feel? Let's be honest. Yes?
I think you wake up in the morning and say, how are you going to use me today, Lord?
Mm-hmm.
And the prospects are that sometimes it's going to be an occasion that is something you didn't want.
Mm-hmm.
Or a person whom, you don't like.
Yes.
Histories.
Yes.
And therefore, but then when you realize you prayed earlier in the day about that.
Yes.
Okay?
Sure.
And then it becomes very lively, and I think you can get engaged in saying, I remember what God put on my heart earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, you better start the day by knowing that you're going to fail and pray into that so that by the end, yes, I like that. That's the prayer of an honest man. But I also like that you mentioned how hard it's going to be, right? Remember when we started, we talked about how when we were little, we learned these things, these Beatitudes. I even used to go and visit, play at friends' houses. Their moms had them on the wall. Does anybody in here have the Beatitudes on the wall? Okay. You could see how they could be on there, right? Like the fruits of the Spirit. They're very simple, easy, straightforward. But yes, what you're talking about is more true. It's so hard, guys. We're eviscerated by this world. We are cut to ribbons, right? And we do it. We cut one another. Yeah. So this means being told to have pity for those who have offended you. It means that Jesus, He's not asking a little simple thing. He's asking a giant thing. The question will be, will He give us the grace to do it? and we'll get there. But I want you, while you're wrestling with this question, to think about the original recipients of this beatitude, because here's a brief description of those that Jesus is telling to be merciful, okay? Think about this. He's speaking to those who have reason to hold a grudge. He's speaking to the poorest of the poor, and he's speaking to people that are poor not just because they were unsuccessful in life. He's speaking to those who are poor because of injustice. And he's saying, have mercy. He's speaking to the bereaved, those who, being poor, can't afford to save their loved ones with the visit of a doctor at home. Right? The poor lose those they love because they don't have the means to extend life on this earth. He's speaking to those who know what loss is. He's speaking to the conquered, which is, I think, maybe impossible for us to think about. But for all the fear in our politics, imagine us not fearing enough and another country coming in and taking ours over. Show mercy. The persecuted, those that were despised more than anyone else on the face of the earth. Have mercy. Knowing every day you're going to get up and be slapped in the face ruthlessly. Have mercy. And still, Jesus calls them to have pity. Why? Why does Jesus call these people to have pity? Because he wants them to be truly happy. He wants them to be truly happy. That's a bold claim, but he's making it. Your life is awful. The thing that makes the most sense to you is to punish those who did it, who made it this way. I want you to be merciful. Why, Lord? How long is what the psalmist would ask. How long will this injustice go on? His response, be merciful. I want you to be truly happy with me. Be merciful. Be happy with me. So profound. He wants them to be happy, and there's a second part of why he's telling them this. It's that kingdom part. It's the king part. The prophet is saying, be merciful so that you can be happy with me. And also be merciful so this world will be changed. That's the most world-changing thing, is forgiving people you know that have hurt you. Giving what people need, even though they don't deserve it. That's what changes the world. That's what Jesus is inviting these people into. You're poor, you're insignificant, you're worthless, the rest of the world spits on you, cuts you up, kicks you off your land. Be merciful so you can be happy with me. And together, the lowest of the low? No. I will lift you up and you will change the world with me. And all men will be drawn unto me, all tongues and nations. It's extraordinary. He didn't go to the Ivy League schools to enlist his disciples, those that would follow him. He didn't go get the most capable people. He got the lowest of the low, and he's going to lift them up. He's a prophet, and he's the one who fills the prophecies, right? That's Isaiah language, for sure. Okay, so I want to ask you this more particularly. Those who show such mercy, again, back to that promissory language, are they happy? When you show mercy, are you happy? Let's take the Lord up on his promise. Let's take him at his word. When you show mercy, when you forgive others, are you happy? Yes?
I think we're truly doing that. I mean, we're truly in our hearts showing mercy, compassion, pity, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I think it's a double-sided benefit. The individual receiving the mercy is blessed. Okay, but the one who is giving it is also giving away any grudge he may be holding. You know, he's also releasing that if it's truly in his heart to do that. You know, and this is why I think so many are unhappy, because they're just storing up all this bad stuff in their hearts against someone.
Yes.
By showing this mercy, this compassion, you know, pity, whatever you want to call it, you know, it's a double-sided benefit for the giver and the receiver.
Yeah.
To do that, there's a big release when you do that intentionally and pure of heart. When you're doing it, it's a great benefit to the giver as well.
Yes. Absolutely. Do you know? Secular science would agree with that. They found this. They can measure this tangibly. They can poll people and see these things. And yet, even though we could put it right in front of our faces and taste and see that it's true, right? We can feel and touch. What does Thomas say? Lest I put my hand in his side, right? And then Christ's response is, Ballo, throw your hand in my side and see that I have risen, right? So that level of confidence we can have with the benefit of forgiving one another. But you see, it's the question of knowledge, that's not the question at all. It's a question of trust. Like you said at the beginning, right? It's not whether or not we know the Beatitude. Like I said, the little guys, when we were teeny tiny, we knew them, right? It's not whether or not you know it, it's whether or not you trust the Lord in that moment. And I will tell you, it's very scary. It's very scary in these moments to rely on the promise of the Lord and to go to somebody who has destroyed your life and tell them that you forgive them the way Jesus forgives you. It's a scary proposition, right? But I will also say the inverse is true. Those who do not show pity, those who do not forgive, are miserable. And we can infer that from the Lord's teaching. If truly happy are those who show pity, what of those that withhold it? Right? They're beaten down. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Have you guys seen happy people that are ruthless? You know, Hollywood shows us these people, right? Like the villain is thrilled at being alive and thrilled at being ruthless. It's not believable. We don't see people like that. The people I see are happy as the day is long. I also see people that are miserable. And I also see people that cannot bear the thought of trusting enough to forgive their families, you know, or their ex-wife or ex-husband, right? Miserable people, ruthless people, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. If you find yourself miserable, it doesn't necessarily have to be because you are ruthless, but I would say that's a good place to start. Yeah, and if you need help reflecting, come talk to your pastors, because we want you to be truly happy, and that is truly one of the reasons we're here. It's one of the reasons we keep office hours. Yeah, we want you to be happy, just as the Lord wants you to be happy. I won't beat this dead horse because we've got one more that we've got to get to. Of course, they gave me 2 Beatitudes to get to in one day. You guys have been doing one, right? At one every Sunday? Sometimes 2?
We had 3 one. Yeah, we had.
Okay, I won't complain then. Yeah.
2, but we only get through 1.
I mean, I will say that it is a privilege because this guy, whoever he was, is a tremendous teacher, right? Yeah. The best of all teaching ever. Okay, so what you could do, if you doubt anything I said, you could recognize that that word is the same word used. It's good to doubt from time to time. I should say that. I will tell you, the same word is used for the punchline of the parable of the unforgiving servant. And if you guys remember that parable, you remember how ruthless it is in kind in its conclusion. That same word that we translate in the ESV for mercy, in the King James, I think, in the New King James, they translate it pity. Yeah. You did not show pity to them. Why will I then show pity to you? That would be a good, cutting parable to read to your own heart. And again, we see Christ at his finest. He's not just a prophet. He is the prophet of prophets. It's amazing. Okay, let's move a little bit here. Purity of heart. I had a clip to show you, but I'm not going to do that. I can describe it. You guys know the scene we're going to talk about. You could translate it like this. True happiness, truly happy, is the pure or the clean of heart. Why? Because they will see the sight of all sights. We call this the beatific vision. They will be truly happy because they will see the Lord face to face. Okay? Now, the language that Jesus is pulling from, and all of the scriptures speak of him, and they are all for him, and his Spirit has inspired them all. So he's not stealing, right? He's using his word, more particularly, he's using Psalm 24 language. And I want you to hear this psalm as I recount, but also remember once again, truly happy is the clean of heart, for they will see God. Okay? The psalm reads like this, or at least begins this way. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. Who shall ascend to the hill of the Lord? And who shall stand in his holy place? He who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not lift up his soul to what is false and does not swear deceitfully. He will receive a blessing from the Lord and righteousness from the God of his salvation. Such is the generation of those who seek him, who seek the face of the God of Jacob. It's beautiful. So then I ask you, in light of Psalm 24 and that beatitude, who then shall ascend the hill of the Lord? Who will stand in his holy place? Who will do this?
Jesus.
Jesus will. That's right. What other answer could we give? No one will. No one, right? Who will just traipse into the Holy of Holies? A dead man. No one. No one will, right? The answer is, in other words, he who has clean hands and a pure heart. He who lays his hands out to have nails driven through them, right? He who has a pure heart, who does not know how to love, to lift his, to love anyone else, to lift his heart up to another. He cannot do it, right? That one. He will ascend the hill. He who has clean hands and a pure heart, he who does not lift up his soul to what is false, he will see the face of the Lord. In other words, whoever this is in the Old Testament, right? They know that someone is going to ascend the hill. Someone is going to seek the Lord with a pure heart. But again, they haven't really seen a lot of these people. They've seen shadows. They've seen priests. They've seen Moses. They've seen Aaron. They've seen David in his finer day. They've seen Solomon in his earlier day, right? Yeah, they've seen shadows, glimpses, hints, but they need more. They need someone who will not only be able to pull off this impossible thing, but carry us, bring us up the hill with him. They need one who will show pity on them. And we do too, right? Because what happens to those who see the Lord and they don't have a pure heart? I was going to show you the Raiders of the Lost Ark scene from the end, right? There's this great portion in that scene where they have this bird's eye view of the inside of the ark, and it looks like a mirrored sky. And you see it start swirling, right? It's the best they can do to approximate the presence of the divine on celluloid, right? But I mean, the scene is echoed by Indy. And what's her name? Starts with an M. Miriam, yeah. Indy and Miriam, and Indy says, keep your eyes shut. Don't look, right? The implication is there. Who will see the Lord our God? No one, right? That is a worldview without Jesus. Yeah. Paul tells us what this world looks like. He says this. Paul and David, they both echo this. For Paul, it's in Romans 3. For David, it's in Psalm 14. None is righteous, no, not one. No one understands and no one seeks for God. All have turned aside together. They have all become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throat is an open grave, and they use their tongues to deceive. Who then will ascend the hill of the Lord and refuse to lift up his soul to what is false? And will they be will they be merciful? Will they have pity? Will they allow us to come with them up the hill? Right? It's a picture of Moses bringing up the elders. Yeah. Who will do this for us, that we too might ascend the hill and refuse to lift our souls up to what is false and to enter into his holy place? So what do we see? There's this dual-sided nature of these Beatitudes. Jesus teaches them, but it's this impossible thing. It's an impossible teaching. And then he fulfills them, but they're still impossible for us. And then he establishes and brings us grace that we might be able to begin to walk in them, right? It's amazing. It's Jesus who teaches us the Beatitudes, but it's also Jesus who fulfills them, and it's Jesus who makes them a reality in our lives. In our lives, but remember, not just our lives, but in the world. He changes the world with people who are living toward the Beatitudes. It's so cool. The book of Hebrews puts it this way in chapter 10. Therefore, brothers, since we have confidence to enter the Holy of Holies, the holy place, by the blood of Jesus and by the new and living way that he opened up for us through the curtain, that is, through his flesh. And since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the confession of hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And then we skip. Encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near, for if we go on sinning deliberately after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a fearful expectation of judgment and a fury of fire that will consume the adversaries. Fire like in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Therefore, do not throw away your confidence, which has a great reward, for you have need of endurance, so that when you have done the will of God, you may receive what is promised. So these Beatitudes, oh, so simple. No, not really. Who will do them? The guy who's telling them to you, he will do them. How can we participate in it? He will make a way. He will take you by the hand and lead you up the hill. Our hearts are sprinkled clean in baptism, wherein we participate in his death, that we might be raised in newness of life now, and that we might be raised on that day that's promised later. And on that day, we will see the Lord face to face. Just as much as you see my ugly mug, so will you see the Lord. Right? So what do we do between now and then till the day draws near? What do we do? Well, go to the writer of Hebrews and he will tell you. Let us encourage one another. Let us remind one another that the Lord is gracious to forgive. Right? Let us remind one another that he has had pity on us. So we should have pity on one another and others as well. Right? And we should, having the knowledge of Christ, not take it so lightly that we sully our hearts by lifting them up to just any old idol. No, let us strive and endeavor after a purity of holiness. Let us seek holiness together. Yes, let us do this. Why? Because the sight of all sights is awaiting us, and I want you to be there when I see it. And encourage me with that too, especially when I'm having a hard time. Sound good? All right, ready? Break. Let us pray and give thanks for this gospel, for it has power to save. Oh Lord, we give you this great thanks and praise this day, and we ask that you would have patience with us, but not too much patience. We ask that your Spirit would be alive and living and would convict us in our heart of hearts of the pity that you have shown us and of the pity that we have to show others who need pity. Remind us of your compassion, that we might have compassion on others, even those who don't deserve it, for we ourselves did not deserve it. In so doing, let us follow you up the hill, for our hearts have been baptized in participation with your death and your resurrection, sprinkled clean. We ask that you would forgive us our sins and let us strive after holiness by the Spirit that you have put within us and with the grace with which you have bought us. Let us follow you up the hill more and more, that on that last and greatest day, we would get to see the face of all faces, that we might be forever changed. We give thanks for this gospel, Lord, for it is one thing to need pity, and it is another to be given pity. We give thanks and praise for your compassion this day, and in that, let us find our peace, and in that, let us rest on this, the best of days. Amen.